Welcome, friends. My name is David Schnittger, president of Southwest Prophecy Ministries. I'm speaking by phone again today with James Jaeger, president of Matrixx Entertainment and producer of a brand new film entitled Midnight Ride, When Rogue Politicians Call for Martial Law. This is our featured film for January, so I wanted to continue last week's interview with James concerning the contents and importance of this film. For those of you who viewed last week's film, you'll recall that we were discussing the battle in the legislative and judicial circles between two different concepts of the Constitution. One is the concept of original intent, which is what did the framers intend in writing the Constitution, versus the concept of a living Constitution, which means that the Constitution can be malleable, can be shaped and formed in any way that the modern contemporary culture wants it to. This is the heart of the battle and is an important underpinning to this whole discussion about the Second Amendment. Well, we're going to pick up where we left off, James, and let me ask this question. Why do you feel that this film, just released, is especially timely as we move into 2016?
Well, as we can see with these terrorist raids, first in Paris and now in California, the globalists, and by globalists I mean the people who are attempting to put together a one-world state, a one-world global government, basically under the free trade laws and so on, they look like they're moving into a position or trying to move into a position to remove many of the rights of Americans. First and foremost, the gun rights, and the militia is already gone. They got rid of that many decades ago. But the core of the matter is the ability of the power elite to call for emergency powers. And an emergency power means that it's something they basically invoke that gives them the extra authority to virtually do whatever they want, such as call for martial law. So the importance of the current film, Midnight Ride, is we're taking a serious look at the legality of martial law, and we're taking a look at the historic precedences that it's fallen under when various leaders call for emergency powers. Now, Hitler and Stalin did this all the time. They basically, anytime they wanted to increase their power, they just said, well, we have an emergency. We have terrorist raids happening here and there and there. Therefore, we have to call for emergency powers, give them to our leaders, and then all those emergency powers give them the right to call for martial law or run roughshod over the Constitution. The interesting thing about the U.S. Constitution is the founders did not provide for any emergency powers. That means any call for martial law under the emergency powers is totally and completely illegal, and all citizens need to know that and act accordingly.
I was in Boston, as we've talked offline, in April of 2013 when the Boston Marathon bombing took place, and was in Boston when the entire Boston area was totally locked down. It's another term they use for martial law, a lockdown or shelter in place. And something like 4 to 5 million people were placed under these emergency powers. Do you think, James, that event could perhaps have been a beta test for a massive martial law drill?
Well, absolutely. We saw a very good example of martial law right there. And what happened at Bundy was basically a martial law mentality. We also saw last summer, Jade Helm, where basically they're moving training camps in some of the western southern states. Jade Helm 15, that's like, what is there going to be a Jade Helm next year? They're going to keep acclimating us to the military presence spawned by the Department of Homeland Security under the Patriot Act. So we discuss all of these things in the movie. We take a look at necessities. We take a look at what is a free state. We ask the question, are we a police state? And how can we handle this? And we also invoke some of the materials of Eric Hoffer on who will probably side with the globalists, who will not, and take a look at the whole issue from a constitutional point of view.
We're almost out of time, James, but why would you say to our readers, to our listeners today, those who are viewing this film, why is it vital that people, American citizens who are supposedly to follow the Constitution, why is it important that they buy this film and share it with their friends?
The two most important powers that we, the people, can have are the power of the purse and the power of the sword. And the globalists and the people trying to erode constitutional principles are trying to remove both of those powers from we, the people. Power of the purse is basically a solid currency based on gold or silver or some redeemable element. And the power of the sword is basically the right to keep and bear arms, and also to keep and bear those arms and be trained and ready for service in the state militia. They're totally trying to step us away from self-defense. They're calling themselves first responders when they are not first responders. We, the people, are actually the first responders. We, the people, well-organized, well-trained, and working in conjunction with the state militia. I'm not talking about vigilante groups. That is the first defense, the first responders, and we need to get back to that, especially as we have the challenges of the day.
Well, it's a very timely film, and again, as we look at the headlines almost on a daily basis about, quote, domestic terrorism, what opportunities that affords for an overreaching government to declare martial law and really strip us of our few remaining rights. Well, thank you for being with us again, James. It's a real pleasure to speak with you.
Well, you're very welcome, David, and thank you for having me.
We've been speaking with James Jaeger, president of Matrixx Entertainment and producer of a brand new film, Midnight Ride, When Rogue Politicians Call for Martial Law. This film is 111 minutes long and is available from our ministry for an offering of $20 plus $5 for shipping and handling. Click on our January Featured Product tab on the homepage of our website to obtain your copy. Thanks for listening, and until next time, keep occupying till he comes.